What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and making this video today because it is officially the start of training camp. So, there's some stuff to talk about. I've got, a range of tweets and stuff from the media and stuff that were at practice to kind of give you a little bit of inside information on, the things that were going on today. So I'll get into that. Also, I do have some other news, but let me go ahead and get into those tweets first, just to kind of, as I usually do, let you guys know a little bit, about what happened actually at practice. So, some of the highlights. Tight end Mike Gesicki beat Bobby McCain with a phenomenal one-handed catch in the red zone. Let's see. Same thing. Ryan Fitzpatrick again puts the ball in spots only his wide receiver can catch. Fitzpatrick throws made the little kids cheer about 3 times. Here's the thing, right? We've been hearing a lot of stuff about Ryan Fitzpatrick doing a bunch of good things so far this offseason, which is great. But it needs to be taken with a grain of salt, because when he's actually in the game behind the offensive line he's going to have to play against, it's going to be super different. This is training camp practice. They don't even have pads on or anything, okay? So, look, he's got time to throw that he's not going to have, period. He's just not going to have it later. So, just take that with a grain of salt, that's all I'm saying. Look, and so this is going to be actually a common theme that you'll see is there's a lot, and look, man, because I don't want to, I try not to be, Debbie Downer or whatever the fuck, but I gotta keep it real, man. And a lot of this hype, we'll talk about Devontae Parker a little bit, right? The hype that you get from the off season, you gotta, it's cool and it's fun and I get it, but you gotta calm yourself, right? For anybody out there that gets bought and sold on off-season hype, because we've seen in the past that it doesn't always, and oftentimes in fact doesn't translate to the actual season. And so I think it's important that we temper ourselves and our expectations in those situations. So anyway, but good, it is good that is happening now. Obviously, it would be worse if he was sucking in training camp. But also, though, that is an indictment, though, on Josh Rosen, because, up to this point, all indications are, that he's, I don't know, I don't want to say necessarily struggling in the stuff that's going on, but he's not, he hasn't positioned himself to take, first team reps yet, right? And, there have been reports that he was, the best way to say it is kind of struggling a little bit with, the reports said it a little differently. They said, I don't know. I can't remember what it was. It was something along the lines of he's super smart, but it's going to take a minute for him to get the whole offense down and blah, blah, blah. That's just coded language, man. That's just coded language, right? That's somebody with a bias saying, hey, man, this is the right decision. He's great. They brought him in. He's wonderful. He's a super athlete. They're trying to defend the choice while saying, but you know what? Maybe it wasn't a great decision because, so far he's kind of eh. And, Ryan Fitzpatrick being the guy is not a good solution, especially behind this offensive line. And frankly, Rosen wouldn't really perform all that well from what we could expect and from what we saw last year behind a terrible offensive line. And that's reasonable, because what quarterback... Anyway, so we got to be careful there. Anyway, keep going, though. Jakeem Grant making some highlight plays during one-on-one drills that is making the crowd erupt. Speed, jukes, and flavor will always be fan favorites. Absolutely. With him, I do hope that he gets himself back to full and is, going to be able to obviously perform, at the level that he was able to perform at before, because if we're going to have any success, we're definitely going to need him in the open field, you know, making guys miss, quick throws to him, because him and Albert Wilson, we're going to need to see stuff from them that we saw early on in the season last year, before the offensive line went down and before they went down and so on and so forth, right? Because the offensive line is going to be worse than last year and the year before that. I'm telling you, it's not going to be good. So anyway, so it's good to see that, you know, he's out there and doing some good things so far. Jonathan Woodard, Devon Godshaw, Christian Wilkins, and Charles Harris are the starting D-line today. I like the defensive tackles in there. I love Godshaw, and Christian Wilkins I think is a damn good solid player. You know, whatever. Jonathan Woodard, he's kind of so far. He has done some good things for us in the past. And Charles Harris, the jury's still out for him, but he needs to get it, you know, together pretty quick, because his rookie contract is ending and his evaluation time is coming, you know, is coming up. Let's see. Kalen Ballage takes first snap in team drills at running back. So interesting what that means for Kenyon Drake. Look, man, I mean, I think that there's just far too much in flux. There's far too much mystery, far too much concern, far too many holes. Look, guys, I know you want to be all like super hopeful and blah, 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 and so do I. But it's just not reality from my perspective and from the information that is readily available. That's just not reality, man. We are going to struggle immensely last year, and it's not going to be, you know, a pleasurable, fun season where we win, you know, a bunch of games and go to the playoffs. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I mean, look, because last year, you know, first of all, everybody bitched immensely last year about how Kenyon Drake was used and that he wasn't used enough. And as you guys know, I thought he was actually used appropriately and, you know, for the situation, because, you know, again, and I obviously I got to repeat myself for people, but again, the offensive line, after we lost Kilgore and Sitton and you know, Juwan James had some time out, Tunsil had some time out, we started losing backups, and then we started losing other guys, blah, 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 defensive linemen, wide receivers, so on and so forth. Once we started losing all that, I mean, obviously this applies mostly to the offense and offensive line, but you saw Adam Gase do the smart thing and use the thumper up the middle and Frank Gore, which we don't have now, and frankly we don't know if we have any guy that's capable of doing that kind of stuff right now, because he's gone and now in Buffalo at one, you know, in one of our rival teams. But then Kenyon Drake was used more in the passing game, which was brilliant, and he did good things for us in the passing game. Now, maybe they intend to use him like that. We have to wait and see. If they did, that would be smart. But, you know, there is something to be said, though, about the fact that they're opting to go initially with Kalen Ballage and not Kenyon Drake. I mean, you know, we have to wait and see how things turn out to determine, you know, what this actually means, because it could be interpreted in a couple different ways. Maybe they just want to give Kalen Ballage, you know, some of those reps while giving Kenyon Drake, you know, receiving reps, whatever. I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, I would think you would start with Kenyon Drake, because he is, you know, the guy that's been here longer, whatever. I mean, a couple different reasons. He does, you know, he has proven to have success as a running back, you know, so on and so forth. So there are some things to look at in that regard. Nice catch from Devontae Parker for a first down during 11-on-11s. Fitzpatrick on the throw. Raekwon McMillan not running with first team defense and initial team drills. Today's starting 4-3 defensive line is Jonathan Woodard, Godshaw, Harris, and Wilkins. I already mentioned that. Day one, Ryan Fitzpatrick versus Rosen. Fitzpatrick got the first go with starting offense. Josh Rosen, first series in team drills, misses wide open outlet by back by 5 yards on a pass that needed to travel 5 yards, wide left. I mean, that's not good, honestly. I mean, that's not a good sign. You know, I mean, look, and maybe the Cardinals were so eager to get rid of him, which I find to be shocking. They took him 10th overall last year, not in this previous draft, but the year before, because they realized maybe the hype about this kid is not so great. You know, maybe, you know, whatever. And obviously he did struggle immensely behind a terrible offensive line last year, which obviously, again, is not all his fault. It's not even close to all his fault, but, you know, so we'll have to see. I mean, that's, you know, and that's just a small data point, what I just read to you about him missing that pass, but it is a data point. It is part of the context, and we're in training camp now. And again, you know, he hasn't done anything so far to position himself, you know, but we brought him in apparently to be our future, or at least a chance at our future, and it's not starting out so well. So just keeping it real, just keeping it real. Notable starters in Dolphins team drill: Balaj, not Drake; Egovian, not McMillan; Woodard, not Carradine; Ryan Fitzpatrick as usual. Devontae Parker beats Eric Rowe in red zone for touchdown. This summer of Devontae Parker continues. Yeah, I mean, but look, he's had great summers, and so we'll talk about him. He's had great summers every summer. You know, he wows and shines and all this, that, and the other, but he hasn't done anything yet. So, you know, I love the kid, and again, I wanted him. I'm wearing his jersey right now, right? Like, you know, whatever, but I don't think he's going to be successful here at this point. I just don't think the pieces are in place, you know, and frankly, it doesn't matter what happens this offseason, because the only thing that matters is what happens in games. And every offseason, almost every offseason, since he's been here, it's been hype, 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 and nothing, not nothing, but not much on the field. Devontae Parker with a touchdown catch on back shoulder throw. Now with 2 nice catches in first practice. Jakeem Grant, Kenyon Drake, and Trenton Irwin are catching punts. Devontae Parker's excellent work in May and June has continued today with a couple impressive catches. Devontae Parker beats Eric Rowe for a touchdown during 7-on-7. Again, the ball is put on a spot only he can catch by Fitzpatrick. Look, Omar Kelly's the one, by the way, that keeps noting Ryan Fitzpatrick's accuracy and his ball placement. Okay, again, that's wonderful. And this is one of the frustrations that I have with Omar Kelly. Great. That's wonderful. But it's the first training camp practice. It's the first training camp practice. We have like 15 years of this dude in the NFL to see what kind of quarterback he is. And he might be able to drop these dimes, you know, in the first training camp practice, because yeah, he's been around for a while. Yeah, he's had practice. Yeah, he can do it when he's not being pressured, when he doesn't have, you know, vicious defensive linemen trying to eat his face, and when there's an offensive line in front of him that is incapable of doing anything about that. So look, man, I'm just saying, like, let's be fucking real about this shit, right? Mike Gesicki drops potential touchdown. Rashad Jones defends and wins. Josh Rosen with an interception. Upside, he's learning his limits in practice, going for it. Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously training camp and practices are the time to do that sort of thing, and that's good. But it's just, you know, I mean, so far, I haven't heard about him completing any good throws or anything like that. All we're hearing about is his mistakes. And yes, he's a young guy. Yes, he needs time to develop, all that. And so he does get that benefit of the doubt. But it is, you know, when you're trying to determine what reality is, you go based off of the information you have. And right now, the reality is, frankly, that Josh Rosen is underperforming. And so far, now there's still, you know, a long time to go this entire season, you know, and possibly into the next off season before that determination can firmly be made. But he's underperforming, and it's not looking like he's going to be, you know, the franchise quarterback of the Dolphins, because again, the offensive line is going to be horrendous if and when he does play, which I think he will at some point. He's going to probably get murdered. He's not going to look good. We're going to end up taking a fucking quarterback early in the first round next year, and because everybody's, you know, got a hard on for that. And then look, I mean, it's just going to be this cycle, this revolving door as always. Montre Hardage picked off Josh Rosen in the end zone during 7-on-7s. Josh Rosen throws a pick in end zone. Josh Rosen picked. Didn't see Montre Hardage. All those are talking about the same thing, but everybody's talking about it. They're because that's all there really is right now, apparently, from Josh Rosen is struggles. So we'll see. Glad to see this upon return. Kendrick Norton being released from the hospital, so that's good. That's a little side note, but that's good. Josh Rosen intercepted by Hardage. Rosen picked by Hardage. Damn, everybody's talking about Bryce Butler with a nice sideline catch for a 7-on-7 touchdown from Rosen. There you go. So that's good. Finally, though, right? Like there's look, all right. So I'm not trying to be like super hard on the kid, right? Like I said, he does deserve a lot of benefit of the doubt. It wasn't his fault that his offensive line sucked last year. It's not his fault that the offensive line is going to suck for him this year. But that's a large part in why it didn't make sense for them to trade for Josh Rosen and give away the draft capital that they did, because they're taking a guy that's super fresh, super young. His first team that drafted him 10th overall doesn't have the confidence in him and wants to get rid of him. He struggled immensely last year behind a terrible offensive line. Now you're bringing him to a situation where he expects to have the same or worse in that regard. Then he has the veteran quarterback dude ahead of him that he didn't have last year, right? And so look, when you put it all together, it doesn't look good for him being the franchise quarterback of this franchise and even being successful at all. He's probably not. Look, I'm saying he's probably not going to be around next year. Him and Fitzpatrick probably will not be around next year because it's going to be a catastrophe this year, and then everybody is going to be in uproar, and some of it's going to be deserved on the quarterback play, but a lot of it's going to be focused on them when it was really attributed to the offensive line. But then everybody's going to be in such an uproar and clamor about it that they're going to be like demanding that we take Tua or Justin Herbert in the first round next year, and it's going to be a waste because then they're not going to address the offensive line, and then they're going to replace Rosen or Fitzpatrick with another, cheap veteran and, a fresh young draft pick. And then, but it's going to be the same thing. At least, if they continue making, some of if they make choices like they've made along the same thought patterns that they have so far, and based off of what is building right now, that is my perspective of what will happen next year. And if that's the case, I'm telling you, it's going to be a disaster for years, because they're just failing to do what they need to do to actually round out the team, strengthen the areas that need it most, and stop focusing on superficiality. That's what it is. The whole focus on quarterback, like he's the only fucking dude on the field and the only one that matters, is so superficial. Ignores context, ignores other data points in reality and stuff like that, other facts, and it's super foolish and stupid. And it's short-sighted as fuck. Like, it's crazy. Anyway, second teamers going at it in team drill. Rosen complete to Preston Williams. Josh Rosen gets first snap of second series with a completion to Williams. Mark Walton and Josh Rosen mishandle a handoff and ball is on the ground. Rosen and Walton run to the TNT takes no talent wall. That's interesting. But, I mean, that's not, obviously, that's not good stuff. Montre Hardage with a nice interception off Josh Rosen in 7-on-7s. During goal line work, Josh Rosen throws a short pass to Reese Horn, who jogs it into the end zone. Rosen with consecutive red zone touchdowns with second teamers. First to Reese Horn, second to Trenton Irwin. Okay, good. So he's picking it up, right? Starting to pick it up a little bit. Good. But, like, it is his second year now, and I know, he's got a lot of adversity and turmoil to, whatever. And, in my defenses of Ryan Tannehill, I talk about that stuff a lot. So he does get, the benefit of the doubt. Look, when I vehemently and passionately talk about Josh Rosen, it's not so much about Josh Rosen as like the situation. I mean, it is in part, about him, right? but it's the fact that I thought the move itself was not smart because they're bringing him into a situation where he's going to be set up to fail. He's being set up to fail. And I mean, anyway. Ryan Fitzpatrick with an easy touchdown to Kenny Stills in his first red zone 11-on-11 throw. Jamal Wiltz on the loose coverage. Raekwon McMillan still not running with starters on defense. Second round pick in 2017. I mean, that is interesting and something to keep an eye on. Kenny Stills with another touchdown from Fitzpatrick. Jamal Wiltz struggling in coverage. Ryan Fitzpatrick's second red zone 11-on-11 throw is 5-yard touchdown to Kalen Ballage on the check down. Kenny Stills roasts Jamal Wiltz on second touchdown from Fitzpatrick. Let's see. Ryan Fitzpatrick with consecutive touchdown throws to Kenny Stills and Kalen Ballage. Looks sharp. Josh Rosen nearly intercepted by Trey Watson. Shaky start to Rowan training camp. Ryan Fitzpatrick with a red zone touchdown pass to Isaiah Ford on his first throw. He really does make it look easy. Another Omar Kelly tweet. God damn it, it's training camp, day one. I'm telling you, when he gets into the fire, and this actually is a bit more of an indictment on Fitzpatrick. It's different with Rosen because he's still so fresh and because it's only his year 2, right? But Fitzpatrick's been in the league for like 15 years. We know what kind of quarterback he is. He's not a great quarterback. And when he gets it's fucking training camp. He doesn't have defensive linemen fucking trying to eat his face. He doesn't have blitzing corners. And I mean, they might do some of that stuff like on defense to hash out the schemes and stuff like that. But it's not full speed. It's not in pads. It's nothing. Absolutely nothing like the game is going to be. Not even close. And so we can sit here and we can, the problem I have with it is because people are hyping it up like, oh man, he's making it look so easy. And when we get into games, he's just going to be on fire, lighting it up, throwing, dimes to everybody. Perfect placement for touchdown after touchdown. And then people will point to, those short-lived superstar games that he had last year and be like, see, that's evidence. Yes, but then look at the rest of his fucking career. That's also evidence, people, right? So, look, anyway, you get it. Josh Rosen with a nice thread of the needle to Nick O'Leary for a touchdown in the end zone during 11-on-11s. That's great. Looks like a positive note, though, it looks like the tight ends are getting involved, and we need them to. We need, there's some Gesicki's making some nice throws in practice, but a little bit like Devontae Parker, he's starting to get some of those, off-season. Like last year, there was a lot of raving about him. They're not raving so much, at least right now, but they are starting to show videos and some highlights of him kind of, talking about him a little bit. And I hope he does come on. I really like the kid. I thought he was a good pick, and I think he could do some really good things for us. Nick O'Leary also did some good things for us, and I think those are the two guys who are going to be our primary pass-catching tight ends, and we need them to step up for sure and to do some stuff, so that's good. Kenyon Drake getting some work with the starters now. McCain now at safety, as we reported last month. I mean, look, Brian Flores is a defensive-minded coach, so he probably knows a lot better than me, but I would not have McCain at safety. He needs to be the slot corner, and we just need, although there is some developing news at safety, which I'll get to in a minute, but we need Fitzpatrick at safety. We need Jones for sure at safety, and, McDonald and Walt Aikens are either, really good in McDonald's case or at least a serviceable, good, solid backup in Aikens' case, right? So we're set at safety, and we're set really, at cornerback for the most part, right? What we need at cornerback is our number 2 opposite Xavier Howard. We need McCain in the slot. And then we just need to hash out who the depth players are going to be just in case they got to come in, or in case, we put, multiple Excuse me. Whoa. I hiccuped and then my voice cracked a little bit as I was trying to talk through the hiccup. And now I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah. So, and you know, we need to hash just in case there are like multiple defensive backs on the field on certain plays and so on and so forth, right? Anyway, whatever. So anyway, let's see, what else do we got here? And so that appears to be it for, you know, the inside information on camp from like reporters and stuff like that. So let me go ahead and just get to some of the actual like news though, on some things that happened. So there were some you know, moves today and stuff like that. Also, real quick, another note from training camp, Jerome Baker apparently was calling the defense a lot today. I mean, obviously, you know, you had heard I just talked about McMillan wasn't really running with the ones a bit or quite a bit or at all, I guess, really. Jerome Baker was in there. He was calling defense. So that's interesting and something to keep an eye on and how that plays out. But I guess, you know, they are, like, you know, really like Baker, which is good. I love the kid too. I think he was a great pick as well. So I'm looking for, and he did some good things for us last year. I'm looking for him to improve and take the next step in his game. So to the news, looks like Alan Hearns, he was released from the Cowboys, I believe, and so he came in for a visit. Nothing yet on that after, just reports that he was visiting, so, you know, we'll see. But look, here's some other things that are super important and super relevant. First of all, TJ McDonald was put on the PUP list. Now, to be clear, the PUP list could be very short term, right? They could be activated anytime. You know, it depends on what's going on with them and so on and so forth. So, like, you know, Cordray Tankersley, Mike Hull, and Dwayne Allen were all put on PUP yesterday. TJ McDonald, but those are all, you know, pretty key players in you know, in their own right. I mean, TJ McDonald, one of our, you know, top safeties, one of our starters, rotational safeties. Dwayne Allen was supposed to be one of our primary tight ends. Mike Hull is a serviceable backup and mainstay on special teams, and Cordray Tankersley at the very least is you know, part of our depth. But of course we do have, like, you know, hella fucking cornerbacks in camp right now, so I'm sure they'll find somebody, right? We'll see. But that is concerning that, you know, McDonald is now on PUP. But hopefully he can, you know, get better with whatever it is and get back to the team, you know, as soon as possible. But look, this one is super important. Jayrone Elliott has been released. Okay? The linebacker that everybody was like super fucking excited about and hyping up, that had 7.5 sacks in the AAF before it got disbanded. When the Dolphins took him, everybody was like, oh yeah, look, such a great move. Oh, he's going to be a beast and blah, blah, blah. He led the AAF with 7.5 sacks. Oh my God, look at this dude, blah. And guess what? Now he's not even on the team. Because like I said, dude, he was in the NFL before. He didn't make it. He went to the AAF, which was an upstart football league. It failed. That's not on him, but, you know, it failed. He failed in the NFL, and then the league that he went to try again failed. And, you know, so he led with 7.5 sacks in that short time, but the competition clearly was not anywhere near where it is on the, you know, in the NFL. So, I mean, look, and so now he's gone. He's not even on the team. So, I mean, I don't know. It's look, man, it sucks. I hate that, like, I hate that I got, you know, I mean, it doesn't even matter what team it is, right? Like, I felt for Browns fans when they were, you know, when they didn't win a single game, you know, an entire season. Like, that sucks, man. And it sucks to be so, like, down and negative on your team, and, like, I hate this, but it's the reality, man. Like people who think that we're going to have a good season this upcoming year is living in a false world. It's a reality that's not going to exist. And the evidence is clear. The writing is on the walls. There's far too much going against us in that way. And unfortunately, one of my biggest frustrations is I think that we're setting ourselves up for failure for the future as well, not just the short term. So with a lot of the decisions that were made and so on and so forth, in the direction that they seem to be going in at this point. So I have my concerns, as you guys know, and it sucks. I really do. Like I said, I believe in my last video, nobody wants me to be wrong more than me. I want to be able to go out, to make my videos at the end of games on Sundays and be like, man, we crushed them. They far exceeded my expectations. They're killing it, blah, blah, blah. I want to say that. But I got to keep it real, because I don't believe that at the end of games on Sundays, I'm going to be saying it. At the end of games on Sundays, I very much believe that we're going to end up talking about how we just got fucking our asses handed to us. And that sucks. It sucks. But I can't, I'm not one of those kind of people that's just going to sit here and tell you or others, something you want to hear just because you want to hear it, and just when it's not reality, when it's not true. Look, I'll be honest with y'all. I've had a lot of difficulties, if you will, in personal relationships, because I'm just a super honest person, right? I don't go out of my way to hurt people's feelings or anything like that. In fact, I try to do the exact opposite. But I'm a super real person, and I'm also a super logical person. And so it's impractical, illogical to me to tell people, some flowery, sugar-coated, roundabout bullshit that's not true. I find it to be more harmful than good, and so I don't do it. I just don't do it. I can't do it. It's not part of who I am. It's not part of my fabric and my being. So I just got to keep things absolutely 100 and real with y'all, and that's what I do. And so look, I'm gonna go ahead and end it on that note, and I hope you guys do like my perspective. And so if you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section, and as always, follow me on Twitter. With that, I'm out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.